Behavior is the language of trauma. Monsieur Keels. I'd like for you to hold on to that thought for a moment and consider the following images. When I show you this picture, what comes to mind? You may be thinking that these teens look healthy, happy, seem to be even involved in a sport. Well, what about this one? This young lady is clearly upset. Could she feel left out? Maybe even bullied? Okay, last one. These young women are clearly having an altercation, oftentimes viewed as bad news, bullies, and lumped into the bad kid category. Would you like to know what each of these images have in common? These images and the realities I've just described represent my life as a young woman. You see, I was the girl that joined the track team in my first year of junior high. And I was the girl that was bullied on the school bus for 2.5 years. And I was the girl expelled for fighting in gym class, labeled a bad kid, later becoming the very bully I once loathed. What these images do not reveal, and what those around me in those years did not realize, was that I was hiding many secrets. I hid that my parents were addicted to drugs. I hid that my body had been invaded when I was 6 years old by a teen boy. And I hid that my mother had taken to prostitution by the time I was 13. My home was prone to violence, and I would not realize the impact of these childhood events and my habits as a result, and I would not recognize that something needed to change for many years. In that time, I'd become a teen mom, drop out of school, become a borderline alcoholic, and I was consistently jobless. I believe there was nothing more beyond my current circumstances. My lens was narrow. The lens of my principals, teachers, and those around me during those years were also narrow, as they did not recognize the symptoms of my mental health condition or the circumstances of my home. Today, I want to share 3 vital pieces of information that will equip you to better recognize mental health challenges among your peers so that you can widen your lens and zoom in to make a difference. As a part of the discovery process to widen our lens, I think it is first also vital that we learn what some of the underlying issues of trauma and depression are. By a raise of hands, who here has ever heard of the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study? Great. For those of you that haven't, the CDC Kaiser Permanente Adverse Childhood Experiences Study is one of the largest investigations of childhood abuse, neglect, household challenges, and later life health and well-being. Adverse childhood experiences are potentially traumatic events that occur in childhood before the age of 18. During the investigation, survey participants were surveyed on 10 common types of ACEs. Their tally represented the number of experiences they had related to personally. Scores ranging from 0 experiences to 10 experiences, 10 being at the highest risk for many mental and physical health conditions. Now, momentarily, I will reveal those same 10 survey questions, so feel free to follow along. ACE question number 1. Did a parent or household member often swear at you, insult you, or humiliate you? Question number 2. Did a parent or household member push you, grab you, throw things at you, or harm you to the point where you were left with marks or you were injured? ACE question number 3. Did someone at least 5 years older than you touch you, fondle you, or have you to touch their body in a sexual way? ACE number 4. Was your mother or caregiver treated violently? Number 5, was there substance abuse in the household? ACE number 6. Was someone in the household mentally ill, depressed, or attempt death by suicide? Number 7, were your parents separated or divorced? ACE question number 8, was someone in your household incarcerated in prison? Number 9, did you ever feel that you weren't important, that you weren't special, where you didn't have, maybe your family didn't look out for each other and support one another? Last but not least, ACE question number 10. You didn't have enough to eat. You had to wear dirty clothes. You didn't have someone to protect you. For those of you that are wondering, I scored a 9 on my ACE survey. This means that I related to 9 of those scenarios I've just described to you, and in many instances, multiple times over. Now, I realize that there are many forms of traumatic events that can impact mental and physical health conditions. But when individuals are subjected to multiple or reoccurring ACEs, the negative impacts increase into adulthood. Some of those risks include, but are not limited to, drug and alcohol abuse, risky sexual activity, chronic health problems, including obesity, cancer, and heart disease, mental health challenges, including an increase in aggression and depressive symptoms. Mental health is a global health and safety issue. And we, you and I, must become a part of the solution. We can no longer solely rely on the government, healthcare providers, big corporations, and the nonprofits. We must make it a personal priority within ourselves to become the support that our communities need if we are going to end the destructive cycle in the generations behind us. Thankfully for me and for you, there are individuals who recognize this, and they are ready with supportive resources to zoom in and to make a difference. These individuals may never realize the impact that they had on my life so many years later, but their ability to show compassion, support, and to look past my hard exterior left a mark on my mind, my heart, that will never be forgotten. You too have the power to zoom in and to leave a mark. Here's how. The first way that you can begin to zoom in and to leave a mark is by educating yourself and others on the facts, and by learning what trauma and depression look and sound like. For instance, did you know that 5 of the leading causes of death are associated with adverse childhood experiences? On that list, death by suicide. It's alarming. So, what does trauma and depression look like? What are the symptoms? Persistent or sudden changes in irritability, aggression, a decrease in interest in activities, persistent sadness, trouble sleeping, and even nightmares. During those years that I went without intervention, the symptoms in my behavior worsened, and I even contemplated self-harm. As someone who has contemplated death by suicide, I think it is also vital that we learn and take the symptoms of death by suicide very seriously. So if someone talks of feeling hopeless, unbearable pain, or killing themselves, their feelings and words need to be taken very seriously, even if the individual tells you otherwise. The second way that you can begin to zoom in and to make a difference is by recognizing personal misconceptions and knowing that your words matter. In fact, here are some common do's and don'ts to remember when you're having a conversation with someone who might be in distress. Do say, "How are you? Would you like to talk?" Don't say, oh, you'll be all right, this happened to me and I turned out just fine. No. Do say, you have the right to feel these feelings. Don't say, but you're too young to be depressed. Instead say, I'm here if you need me. The third and most important way that you can begin to zoom in, to leave a mark and make a difference, is to choose compassion and support. Choose empowerment over shame. Gearing up with the right resources that will offer hope in times of crisis will also help you feel better prepared. With that said, everybody, pull out your phones and add the following phone number to your contacts list. Give me a little wiggle when you're ready. Thanks. Thank you. Great. That number is 988. I'll repeat it again. 988. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Hotline is a 24/7 call and text support line for those in suicidal crisis as well as mental health related distress, those that are in distress and those that are wanting to support those in distress. Now, I realize that this 3-digit number is easy enough to remember, but I believe that you'll become more cognizant of its availability in a time of crisis if it's already programmed in. Before I close, I want to say this. When I look back on all of the moments that I experienced positive change, my lens, my perspective needed to change first. I had to widen my lens in order to see that hope and support were being offered to me. And by accepting that hope and support, guess what? Today, I get the chance to zoom in and make a difference. Just imagine what my life would look like had someone not taken the time to zoom in to be that supportive intervention for me. Thankfully, I don't have to imagine, and for that, I am forever grateful. Remember, behavior is the language of trauma. Students will show you before they tell you they are in distress.